Hey folks, in the next lecture, we'll learn how to organize templates using layout files and inheritance, making our web pages cleaner and easier to manage. Now let's go to our PyCharm project and carefully look at how we organize our files. Inside the main project folder, we create a new folder and name it Templates. This name is very important because Flask looks for HTML files inside a folder specifically called templates. If you write a different name, Flask won't find your HTML file when it tries to load it. Once you create the templates folder, right-click on it and choose to create a new HTML file. Let's give this file a simple and clear name, something like homepage. This file is where we'll write our standard HTML structure and also add special Jinja2 expressions so Flask can show dynamic content on the page. Inside that, we've given the title, for example, My Flask Homepage. After that, we move to the body section. Here we use something new and special, Jinja2 syntax. Let's say we want to display the name of the user right at the top of the page as a heading. For this, we write a heading tag h1, and inside it, we place two curly braces on each side of the variable name that is username. This is how we tell Flask to show a variable's value. When the page loads in the browser, Flask will automatically replace username with the actual value, like Anderson, and show it as Welcome Anderson. After finishing our HTML template, we need to understand how Flask connects everything. We go back to our Python file, usually named app.p. In this file, let's define the Flask app object and set up a route, just like we did in the previous lecture. So, we first import the necessary functions from the Flask module, including Flask and render template. Then we create a Flask app object and name it app, which will control the behavior of our website. After that, we define a route for the home page using app.route, which listens for users who visit the main page of our site. Below this route, we create a view function named homepage, where we define a variable user name with a value like Anderson. Finally, we use the render.template function to load our HTML file and pass the user.name to the template using the variable name username. When Flask sees this renders template call, it goes to the templates folder, finds the homepage.html file, replaces any Jinja2 expressions like username with the actual data, in this case Anderson, and then shows that final result in the user's browser. The visitor just sees a complete and clean web page, not any of the background code. Let's now run the program and test everything we've done so far. For this, we open the terminal window in PyCharm and type the command that tells Flask to start the web server. This command will run the app and show a local address, usually starting with numbers. Now we simply click on that URL or copy and paste it into the browser's address bar. When the page loads, we can see the output on the screen. In our case, it says Welcome Anderson. This is happening because inside our Python file, we created a variable named username and gave it the value Anderson. Now we go back to the HTML file and update the structure to include more dynamic content. In the body, we change the text in the heading tag as hello. Now let's move and add a Jinja2 condition below it to show a personal message. We begin this condition by writing an %, if %tag and check if the variable called username exists. If this variable is present and has a value, the browser shows the message, "We are happy to have you here," followed by the actual name using the print expression, double curly, braces, username, double curly braces. This print expression is written inside double curly braces and is replaced by the real value when the page is shown. If the username variable is not there or is empty, then the second message is shown. This second message is inside the else block, and it says, "Welcome guest." This means the user has not provided a name, but the site still gives a friendly message. After this, we close the condition using costs, percent sign, end of percent sign calls. Now we add a second heading using H2 that says, "Here is the list of items." This line prepares the user for a list that we are going to show just below it. Under this heading, we create an unordered list using the UL tag. Inside this list, we start a Jinja2 loop using start for item in items. This tells Flask to look into a list named items that we sent from the Python file and pick one item at a time. Each item is shown inside a lie tag, which means list item. This loop continues until all the items from the list have been displayed on the page. After finishing the loop, we close it using the percent end for percent tag. This loop is very useful when we want to show multiple things using the same layout, such as blog posts, product names, or even comments. Now let's go back to our Python file named app.py and continue building the logic that brings everything together. At this stage, we want to update our function a little more. Right after we define the username variable, we go ahead and create another variable called items. This time, we make a list, which simply means a group of values. Think of it like a basket holding many things together. In our example, we add three simple items to this list: apple, banana, and cherry. These are just example words to help us understand how to pass multiple values to a web page. Once both variables, username and item, are ready, the next step is to send them into our HTML file so the user can see this information clearly in the browser. For that, we use the render template function, which is already set up to load our homepage.html file. After sending the username, we now also pass the list by writing items equals items inside the same function. This line tells Flask to take this data and make it available to our HTML template. When the website is opened in a browser, Flask quietly does the work in the background. It goes into the templates folder, finds the correct HTML file, and fills in the Jinja2 tags using the values we gave. So when the page shows up, it welcomes the user by name, and then it displays each fruit in the list as a separate item, like a bulleted list. Now, there's one more useful thing we can do to make running our Flask project easier. Right now, every time we want to run the Flask app, we go to the terminal and type a command like flask run. But instead of doing this manually every time, we can just add a small block of code at the bottom of our app.py file that will automatically run the server when we click the run button in PyCharm. And so we write a special line. If dash name dash equals dash main dash. This line is a common Python trick that checks if this file is being run directly, not imported somewhere else. If it is, then the code under it will run. Right below that, we write app.run debug equals true. This tells Flask to start the web server. The word debug equals true means that if we make any changes to the file, Flask will automatically restart the server and show detailed error messages if something goes wrong. This helps a lot while we are still building the website. Now, let's simply click on the green play button. Once we click the play button, Flask will automatically start the server, and in the terminal below, you'll see a message showing the address where the app is running. Now let's simply click on the link shown in the terminal. It opens in the default web browser automatically. Here you can clearly see the output. The page loads and shows hello message, and just after that it displays the name Anderson because we passed that value from our Python file using a variable. Below the welcome message, we also see a list of fruits like apple, banana, and cherry, because this list was created in the Python file and sent to the HTML template. This proves that both single values and lists can be shared between the Python file and the HTML template, making the web page dynamic and interactive. And here, if you want to improve the look and feel of this page, you can design it using CSS. We've already covered in detail in the previous sections. See you in the next lecture.